Welcome to the Journey to a Million podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Walker. This podcast is about my personal journey from being $25,000 in debt to getting to $1 million of net worth by the age of 43. Follow along with my journey, implement the ideas, and let's do it together. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get started. What's up out there, guys, and welcome to the Journey to a Million podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 16th, 2021. We are going to dive right into the investing versus sports betting challenge. I'm currently on a little vacation from my regular job. I took about 4 days off. I had to take some PTO before the end of the year. So it's been nice to get to work on some stuff here at home. I got to, we'll look at some stuff for my Etsy shop, look at some new suppliers for specific things, and actually found a potentially good one. So hopefully that'll translate into some good stuff for 2022. So it was good to just kind of take a few days and kind of get all my thoughts out there as far as just things that I've been wanting to look at for side hustles and all that, and see what's viable, what's not, and then just be able to take care of some stuff. So it's been a good vacation, and I actually was looking at the Fed talk yesterday for crypto, and it was good to see that the Fed talk kind of they are going to keep interest rates the same until next year, and then have about 3 interest rate hikes for 2022. So what that kind of means is short term, that's bullish for crypto because the economy is going to stay the same as far as interest rates go. But then next year, as they raise interest rates, they'll kind of pull back and kind of gradually make the economy kind of have to do more work, and just kind of bring back the dollar a little bit and try to curb inflation, which is going to actually be bearish for crypto. But I think hopefully in the next, I think hopefully, like we were saying, we'll have about 3 more months of bullish activity in the crypto markets. We can maximize our profits and then just hang out for a year or two. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So looking at crypto, even though we did get a bounce back, it wasn't all of the coins that we have, unfortunately. Avalanche, one of the coins that I got a couple months ago, that I was talking about, I should have taken profits on. Luckily, now it's back at about 100. So we're up pretty well on that from our $65 investment originally. But as far as, some of the other coins in our portfolio, Cardano, it's very down right now at 1.27. I actually had a miscalculation on last week's episode, or I think it was week 13, because for some reason I had 70 Cardano at 131, valued at like 200 and something dollars. I don't know what I did there, but it should have been 91.70. So instead of being at 15.11.03, we should have been at 13.40.76. So still up 34% that week, but not as good as 51% that week. That's kind of what we found out on that. But looking at this week, like we said, Cardano's at 127, so that's 88.90 worth of value. One Solana is now back up from 150 something to 184.80. 200 Decentraland Mana is 322 right now, so that puts us at 644. And then 260 XRP at 81 cents is going to be 210.60. And then 5,000 Stormex at 2.2 cents is $110. And that puts us total at 1,238.30. So we went from 1,600 down to about 1,200 over the last few weeks, which is not great. But I think it's interesting because only one of our coins is up right now. I mean, saying it like that is not great, but at the same time, we still have 3 months left. So we'll see where we are when it's all said and done. Interestingly, with our sports betting account, and like we say every episode, this is just imaginary money. This is just an exercise where we write down the games that we take. It's funny because doing it this way, I'm actually up now above the investing account after last week because we hit one big bet from last week. So going into the week, we were down 105. We had several teasers, and I felt pretty good about last week, and it turned out to be right. So we had the Steelers plus 3.5, and we moved them out to 10.5. We got lucky with that comeback on Thursday Night Football. They won that one. But then we had the Cardinals minus 2.5 out to plus 4.5 with the other side of that teaser. And so unfortunately the Rams won. I thought that Cardinals plus 4.5 was looking very safe, but that's how it goes. We lost 130 on that one, but the next one we had the Chiefs from minus 9.5 down to minus 2.5. And then the Bills and the Bucks were minus 3.5. We moved them to plus 3.5. That was an easy winner. It went to overtime, but the Bucks still won outright in overtime. So that was a nice win for both of those, plus 100. And then we also had Rams and Cardinals over 51.5. In the next teaser, we put that at 44.5. That was an easy win. Bills and Bucks, we had that over 53.5 down to over 46.5. And that one was an easy winner as well. They scored 60 points total in that game. So that was plus 100 as well. And then we also had the Lions and Broncos minus 10 to minus 3. They won by like 20 something. The Broncos did. And then the Bears and Packers were moving from minus 12.5 to minus 6.5. I should have put minus 5.5, I guess. Yeah. So, but they won by 15 anyway. So it didn't really matter. That one was kind of dicey for a bit because the Bears were playing really well. But the Packers actually came and, took over in the second half for a 15-point win, 45-30. So that was another plus 100. So, and then the last one we had that was just a regular bet was the Panthers minus 2.5 at home against the Falcons. And I was wrong about the Panthers because I thought they would be able to take care of business at home, but they're just kind of too unpredictable to keep betting on right now. So that's minus 130 for us. Got to just kind of like lay off the Panthers for a bit. So we went 3-2. But with our parlays, we had two parlays. We had the Chiefs minus 9.5 that covered. Packers minus 12.5 that covered. Cardinals minus 2.5, we lost that one, and Panthers minus 2.5, we lost that. So 2 out of 4 on one parlay, that was minus 50. And then we had the Cowboys Washington football team under 48. That one barely hit, but that was a win. The Cardinals and Rams over 51.5. That one was 30-23. So we hit that one with 37 seconds left on a field goal by the Cardinals. And then Steelers Vikings over 44.5. I mean, they scored over 60 points in that one. And then the Bucks minus 3.5. So, two of those or three of those are very close. We got 3 50-50 things to go our way, which is pretty nice. And so on that one, we had 50 to win 500. So that put us at plus 490 on the week. And that plus 490 on the week minus 105 from last week means we're at plus 385 for the year on our sports betting imaginary account. So that actually puts us ahead of crypto. So we got to enjoy it while it lasts. I definitely think putting these parlays in has been a game changer because, most of the time on these picks, we'll go 3-2 or 2-3. 4-1 at the best, 1-4, and it's just hard to make a lot of progress that way. So it's a lot better if we do these parlays because we've hit 2 or 3 of them so far, and that's been a big catalyst for growth. Okay, so then going into this week, like we said, crypto is at 1,238.30, betting as at 385 plus 385, so 1,385. And then we're going to do teasers because that's what's been working, focusing on NFL. I know college bowl season is starting. There's probably some games we could take on that, but I'd rather just stick with the teams that we know because NFL is a lot more predictable. And even at the games in the NFL, like we have to stick with the teams that we think are predictable. Like we said, the Panthers are too unpredictable right now, so we're staying away from them. But yeah, college is definitely too unpredictable for me. So let's just keep going with the system that's been working. Follow one course until success, as they say, focus. And we're going to start this week off with the 49ers minus 9.5 and the Saints and Bucks minus 10.5. So we're going to move the 49ers down from minus 9.5 to minus 2.5. And the Bucks from minus 10.5 to minus 3.5. So I definitely think that both of these teams will take care of business. If the Falcons cost us again, I might have to take them more seriously because this will be 2 weeks in a row we fade the Falcons and, they come and surprise us. I do think the Bucks will have too much firepower at home against the Saints. The Saints, with Drew Brees, of course, as you remember, last year they won 34-3 in Tampa. But that was kind of the turning point of the Bucs season where they kind of really got turned it around after that. But I don't think the Bucs have forgotten that game, and I think Tom Brady's going to remind them of that 34-3 loss last year, and they're going to want to take that division sweep this year. Well, actually, the Saints beat the Bucs already too last time in New Orleans, so I definitely think that just adds to the motivation for the Bucs. So I definitely think Bucs minus 3.5. I feel good about that one. So that's all. These are going to be 130 to win 100, like we usually do. And then Raiders, Browns. We got some Saturday games this week. Browns are +1 at home. I don't think the Raiders, after losing by, 20 something points to the Chiefs, and I don't see them, especially with the way the Browns play and wanting to establish the run. I think it'll probably be decently cold up in Cleveland this weekend. I just think the Browns will be able to kind of like stay close at least, if not win the game. So I was kind of surprised by that spread at Raiders -1. So I'm going to take the Browns out to +8 on that. And then this is probably, like of all the games, I probably have least faith in the Browns. So that's why I'm pairing them with the Texans, because I'm like, if I have to put two teams in the teaser, I'm going to put those two together. So we have the Texans at the Jaguars. Jags are -4 somehow. And I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. I thought the Texans would cover the 8.5 last week, and that game was pretty close throughout most of the game. Texans were keeping up with the Seahawks, but towards the end of the game, the Seahawks kind of took over and just, got it to like had a couple big plays at the end, and that game got away from the Texans, and that was it. But I think, the Texans to me seem like a better team than the Jags. They seem like they're playing for their coach. I don't know if the Jags are necessarily. So if you give me 11 points with the Texans, I think they can stay within that. So we'll pair that with the Browns +8, Texans +11, 130 to win 100. And then this one, I feel pretty good about the Bucs and 49ers one. The Browns Texans one is like, we'll see. But I'm trying to just keep them all the same as far as what we're wagering, because, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't go big. And then Pats, next one, they're +2.5. I thought the Pats would be favored in this one, and they're +2.5. So I'm taking them out to 9.5, +9.5. And then the Dolphins, keeping it in the AFC East, are hosting the Jets. Dolphins are -9.5. We're going to move them down to -2.5. I think coming off a bye week at home, I think, last time they took care of the Jets pretty well up in the Meadowlands. But I think this time at home, they play better defense. They get bigger plays at home. The only thing that I just remembered is that Jalen Waddle is going to be out of this game, and potentially another running back or two for the Dolphins. So that'll be something to watch. I don't know who all is out for the Dolphins, but I'm just sticking with it. I definitely think the Dolphins defense will show up enough for them to get this win. So I'm going to take the Dolphins at -2.5 with the Patriots at +9.5. And lastly, 130 to win 100, of course. And then Seahawks and Rams, I don't like to bet against the Seahawks, but I think, this game, I don't see them keeping up with the Rams -4.5. Rams -4.5. I think they're going to take this game easily at home. I don't think the Seahawks will be able to keep up with this one as terms of scoring. I mean, the Rams Seahawks is like the Rams offense is here, Seahawks offense is like here, and then the Rams defense is here, Seahawks defense is here. So, I mean, that's a huge gap as far as like they're better on offense and defense, and, probably other areas too. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think play calling wise, they have the advantage on offense too. And that's the thing too. So I like Pete Carroll a lot as a coach, but I think Sean McVay is definitely calling more aggressive plays. I think that's a fair assessment. So Rams -4.5, 130 to win 100. And then of course they're going to do two parlays yet again. And I could not find 4 games, together in each of these styles, but I want to keep it the way we've been doing it, where it's one with just teams. We mixed it up a little bit last week. So I'm going to I don't want to go all in on something, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 parlays that are 3 teams each, which would pay out, instead of 50 to win 500, it'd be 50 to win 300. So Rams -4.5, Patriots +2.5, and then the Chiefs -3. I wish that game was -2.5, which we could buy the half point if we were on a site or something, but I don't want to get into all that. I'm just trying to keep it simple with the payouts because that would take the payout from like 300 to some other calculation. I'm just trying to keep it simple, even if that means we tie or lose, we'll see. But I think the Chiefs, they're on a streak right now. And it seems like the Chargers beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, but they tend to lose to them at home. And I think like the Chiefs have just been a better team lately on defense. I think they'll be able to keep up with the Chargers on offense, but I think their defense is way better right now. And because of that, I'm going to take the Chiefs -3 to get that win and close out that parlay. And then lastly, we have the Rams and Seahawks. We're going to take the over 45. I think that's a good pick because the Rams will probably score somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 to 31 points. And that means the Seahawks would only have to score, 21 to 14 points, which I definitely think that is possible. So I like the game to go either way over or very close to the over. So all right, Saints Bucks over 46.5. This one's kind of risky, but I like these two teams together as far as like matching up on points. I think on this one, I'm kind of taking the fact that I think the Bucks will score about 30 points, and I think the Saints will score at least 20. So I think it's going to be close to the over or way over yet again. And then just to throw one other thing in there with it, I'm going to put the Cardinals and Lions over 47.5. It was tough to find another total. A lot of the games this week, I just seemed like I didn't have a strong feeling either way, maybe a hunch, but not enough to like actually take it. So we'll see how many of those hunches would have been right. But one thing that I was looking at just on a hunch level was the Steelers +1 at home, but the Titans are coming off a bye. And the Titans have, they've beaten some good teams this year, and the Steelers have not actually won games. They've been losing to a lot of teams, like especially early this year. So it's kind of hard to put a lot of faith in them. But I think they're going to somehow like take care of business this weekend against the Titans up in Heinz Field. I just think like for some reason, that game, I feel like it's the Steelers cold weather win. I don't know why, but I'm not going to take it. So just saying like that was one of the hunches I had. And then also Texans Jags under, but like we said, those teams are pretty unpredictable and have bad defenses. So it's hard to take those, but Cardinals Lions over 47.5 is the last one on the parlay. We got the Rams Hawks over 45, Saints Bucks over 46.5, and Cards Lions over 47.5. So all in that 45 to 47.5 range. The Cardinals, I definitely think, they're going to score a lot of points, and the Lions, I think they'll probably score anywhere from 10 to 17 points. So that means that the Cardinals would need to score somewhere in the neighborhood of 38 to 31 points probably. So that one's going to be somewhat tough, but because it's in a dome, and because the Cardinals are coming off kind of a loss that they want to get, some vengeance for, I think they're going to be putting up some points in this one. And I think their games on the road tend to be higher scoring for them. And then once they get that big lead, like a 24-3 or, 30 to 31 to 10 lead, they might let up a little bit and let the Lions have one more touchdown to close it out. So that one does not seem as likely to go over, but I'm just going on the feeling that I get from, how these teams play. Sometimes I think that's kind of how these overs seem to be more, is that like, it's just like some kind of like thing where it's like the Bills and the Bucks last week. Like the Bills and the Bucks both have a propensity to play higher scoring games, just because their offensive execution is pretty good most of the time. And, as long as the weather's good, and like in these games, I think it will be, it's like, they're either in domes or in Florida. So I think the weather situations are good. It's like when you have teams where one team executes on offense really well, the other team tends to like figure it out and try to match their style. And then that leads to higher scoring games. So that's my logic. But anyway, just talking here, and that's it for this week. I'm hoping that we can get another big week in the imaginary sports betting account, because it feels good to get that parlay last week and then get back up over the crypto account. So it looks like this competition is turning out to be a lot more of a competition than I actually figured it would be. I think the biggest lessons that I've taken from the investing side have been it's good to time your entry and not just say, I'm going to jump in at the beginning and put all my money in at once and see what happens. Is like, you know, wait for the right time to get in. And then also, like with our Decentraland, we could have sold some of that, could have sold half of our position when it was at $4 and something or $3 something, whatever it was when it was higher. Cause I think it was, you know, about like 20 to 30% higher at one point. So we could have closed that out with some profit. I mean, we're still way in the profit as far as like we're at a 4x right now, but at the same time, would have been nice, like I said, we could have sold about maybe 500 and put that 500 into something else. So now we'd still be up like 300 to 400 at least, and have more diversity in our portfolio. So I do think timing the entry is probably more important, but then just as far as the next step is taking profits beyond that, selling 25 to 50% of our position when we're up. And you know, it seems like it's going to go up forever. That's a good time to sell, like we talked about. So that's it for this one. You know, kind of chill right now and ready for this Thursday night football game. I think it should be a good one with the Chiefs and Chargers. So hopefully the Chiefs can win by 4 and we'll get that first one on the parlay. But other than that, I'm just hoping for a good game. And, you know, I've got Travis Kelce in fantasy, so hopefully he gets a touchdown this week. So it's been a minute. All right. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and thanks for watching. Y'all have a great couple weeks, and it'll be Christmas pretty soon. Y'all have a good one. All right. See you later.